Okay, this is my first tutorial, so bear with me. All right, I've got this eye chart up here. I've created a layer that's just the eye chart itself, and just for the purposes of this, I've created another red layer so you can see how this works. Already I'm making a mistake. Okay, sorry, I'm on the wrong layer. There we go, that would help. Okay, it goes, okay, that selects all the selectables. The problem at this point is that you have to go in and select all the interior spaces, the insides of the A's and the B's and the O's and the R's, and so that's a very painstaking process, unfortunately, because you're always forgetting one. So it's like it's best to do it in total isolation. So anyhow, I'm not going to do that just for the sake of today, but all right. So once you've got that, you'll see that the O's all look wrong here, but anyhow. So then I'm going to click Shift Command I, which is inverse, and that will delete what's inside the letters, okay? And in this case, now you can see that the red layer is showing through. Again, I just did the red layer for the sake of, you know, being able to visualize it. All right, so this gives you a mask layer with the letters, which actually looks very cool. Wondering why we didn't do that. So at this point, I'm just going to delete the red layer, all right? So now, and this may take me a while to find this because I have not prepared for this, I'm going to open another file, see if it happens to be a recent file. Layers for rainbow letters. There we go. Okay. Now this is just a simple file of these blobby shapes. For the sake of this, I'm going to duplicate these layers and move them over to EyeChart store names. Okay, so now they show up there. As you can see, at this point, they are on top of the black layer, which wouldn't be a problem, except that later on we will add the stars and the glowy thingies, and that creates another problem. So anyhow, so now I'm just going to merge this layer down so that so I'm only dealing with this one layer. Now you can see underneath there's nothing when it's on, and when it's on, and when it's off there's nothing. Okay, so at this point I'm going to move that layer underneath. And it's also not a bad idea to just create a base layer of white, so that we've got white paper underneath. That will be just sort of our base layer. So for that, I'll just select all, Command A, fill that layer with white. You won't see any screen difference, but you'll notice here that there is a white layer. Okay. Now to get the so now you have the beautiful color effect. Now I want to do the white UTCs, and for this I'm going to go really fast just to demonstrate it, but let me see if I can find one. Of course, it'd be the easiest thing in the world. Here, I'll just do one. All right, so you just kind of go there, grab that on a new layer. First I made this new layer 2, and I'm just going to do this one. And call this, I usually name them just because it makes it so much easier. And for this, I'm going to make a little white shape that will rest directly behind the, the UTC mask. So that's what you get when you turn off the UTC, I'm sorry, the store names mask. And then you'd have, if I went ahead and did those, then you'd have a lot of those UTCs. All right, now the last step is to create the glows, and for this you have to add the brushes that I put in the file, in the Dropbox file, and select brush, and you'll want white for your brush, of course. This is the big sort of flare. It's called a lens flare. You get that kind of thing when you click it. There's about 10 of these lens flare brushes. They're not the most sort of, not the best brushes I've ever seen, but this is kind of the one that works the best for me. And what I usually do, I call this one a star, and I start them all out at 100%. I'm going to make it a little bit larger just to see. So that then, okay, that's much too bright. It's too distracting. But as I goof with the opacity, you can see that it gets down to something that looks kind of nice there. And then if you want to start adding other layers of this effect, I try to isolate those layers too. You don't put the stars in with the UTCs, because then if you don't like one, it can be isolated. Okay, I'm going to call that UTC Glows. Again, I've got white as the color of the brush. And for this, it's really just a simple, it's a kind of a diffused white. I have the wrong thing selected, sorry. Go back. There we go, 300. That one's too big. So I'm going to press the bracket key to make it a little smaller for the T and the C, and that's it. So I have these two layers that I can turn off, adjust independently. That's the things for just the little blobby letters. I'll just put some up here just so you can see. Then if I decide I hate the whole thing, of course, I can always go in and erase. I got a lot of brushes, so bear with me. Okay, I can just say, oh, I did the wrong thing, so I can erase it. And I'll show you how the opacity thing works on this too. So we can dim the opacity of the starburst and the glows. That's not quite enough, so it kind of usually ends up being around 60% for each one. So that sort of thing. And I think that's basically it. Okay.